as we warned you.
I've got my chaos coordinator mug here. So
Oh, that's cool. And they wrote it backwards because you're
no,
the coordinator of chaos. I'm
uh,
just kidding.
sure, yeah, it
Yeah,
all makes sense now.
yeah, yeah. That's weird, dude. There's a mirror image of my UT cup here too. See, it's totally backwards.
Bizarre. Good thing
Yeah.
that one's symmetrical, right to left.
Right before we went live, we were just catching up, you and me, and I was like, we need to go live with this. But
Yeah,
you were talking about how memory, the cost for computer memory, has, what'd you say, tripled over the last 4
almost,
months?
almost triple. It's
Yeah.
like 150 or 150% increase. So yeah, over the
So
last 5 or 6 months.
you just built some AI monster computer. You upgraded
Yeah.
your memory. You spent $160 on some extra memory. You said that purchase would be $360 today, and that was just 4 months ago.
Yeah. And the reason why is not that the companies that are building out these huge data centers are using this kind of memory. This is not actually the memory they care about, but that there's only a few companies that make memory: Samsung, Micron, SK Hynix in South Korea, a couple others, but very few. So when all of their orders are for really expensive server memory for AI, they don't have much production capacity left over for just ordinary consumer memory. And so they're not making it. There's no reason for them to. And so now, like the worldwide, everyone's feeling the pinch. A lot of people immediately thought, "Oh my gosh, is this the tariffs?" And it's like, if it was the tariffs, that would mean a lower demand here in the States, which would drive prices down everywhere else in the world. But everybody is up because of this. And this situation is gonna last for another 4 to 6 years. Um, and
Depending
then
on, and that's what you were saying, depending on how uh, durable the AI bubble is.
well, and the reason why is because the 4 to 6 years is how long these orders are. So in OpenAI, for example, or Google, when they are ordering their memory, they're ordering it from the same places, and they're like, we're going to need this amount of memory for the next X number of years. They sign that contract, and now the company is going to deliver that much memory, those chips on the schedule. So it's not like, well, maybe the demand will go down. It's like, no, the demand has already been paid for and contracted 4 or 5 years out in advance. So unless the AI bubble bursts and all these companies go belly up and there's like they don't pay for their contract or whatever, and that could happen, but that's bad for everybody too, right? Because you don't want these companies to go belly up.
Right. Well,
So,
so that's what I was going to ask you is,
yeah.
did you see what happened with the market yesterday? Um,
No,
so Michael Berry, you know who that is? He's
a Big Short.
the guy, the Big Short, right?
Yeah.
He's the guy
He was
that
the one
made
that
all the money
called it
shorting the
super
mortgage
early.
crisis. Yep.
Yeah.
And he just put a massive short against Palantir. And
Palantir.
yeah, well, Palantir is the data,
Yeah.
they're the spy company, whatever you want to call it, right? So
Yeah.
they're the government's go-to. But part of their deal is analyzing, all of the data that they bring in and using AI on it, et cetera.
Right.
And they're trading at like 200 times earnings right now. So it's
Okay, so they're overvalued.
Way overvalued.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's shorting the whole sector. Basically, it's like, look, it's not these companies are way overvalued. The market opportunity currently isn't really there. The horizon that we will actually get to, that's kind of the stopping point of what we currently kind of can strategize beyond, is much closer to us than we think it is. And so whether he's right or not, obviously, is
it's interesting
remains
that
to be
he would
seen.
have, because if you were going to short AI right now, I would probably short Nvidia, because we actually know how much they're worth without AI. Because prior to ChatGPT being released in, what was that, 23, 22, December of, gosh, was it just November of 23?
20.
It's recent.
When was ChatGPT?
Yeah. Ask ChatGPT.
released?
When was ChatGPT released? I think it's November of 22 or 23. I can't remember which.
Oh, it's so funny.
Did you find it?
2022.
Okay, November of 22. Okay.
November. Yeah.
So November of 22. So November of 22, when ChatGPT was released, NVIDIA was worth, the whole company was worth $400 billion.
Right.
And a lot of that was, there was some data center stuff in there, some scientific computing. You did have the AI thing, but it wasn't as big. You had people using it for using their hardware for doing visual effects and film, stuff like that. And of course, games. Games was a big chunk of their market for a long time. The crypto thing had already been
Played out.
that was already done. People were using ASICs to do crypto and not GPUs anymore. So yeah, it's a $400 billion company without AI and a $4 trillion company with. So if you were going to short AI as a sector, that's got to be the target, because that we actually know how much it's worth without AI.
You should call him and tell him he's totally.
Well, no. I'm. So that's the thing.
I'd like to understand. You'd like to understand his reasoning a little bit better.
Yeah, because he knows way more about investing.
Well, the CEO of Palantir was on CNBC yesterday afternoon, just railing about it, like, he doesn't know anything, So
well, he must see some particular vulnerability with that, because, a 90% overvaluation on a $4 trillion market cap. There's a lot of opportunity in there, but maybe that short is too expensive. Like, no one can afford that short. And then Palantir is.
So he says
big enough.
He says he believes the stocks.
That's interesting to me.
He says that he believes the stock's valuation is absurdly high and represents a larger AI bubble. His reasoning centers on, so extreme valuation, 256x P/E ratio. It's crazy. AI hype echoes the dot-com bubble, he says.
I agree with him. I think that's probably true.
And he said, according to regulatory filings, the put options on Palantir and NVIDIA comprise the vast majority of Burry's hedge fund. So there you go. Oh, so he did bet against NVIDIA.
He did do NVIDIA too. Okay. Because, I thought maybe, I'm trying to think, this is always one of those things when you see something, it's like, this person's really smart and they just did this. And you're like, okay, why? I'm trying to guess, why would they do that? Maybe. So the thing about NVIDIA is that they do manufacture stuff. They have all these engineers, they're making things, and the stuff that they make has uses outside of AI. So like, their valuation is based on this incredible demand, supposedly from AI, but they still have demand for their stuff. It's sort of like how TSMC right now is also being floated by AI, because everyone is using them to fab the chips. But it's like, don't worry, we still are going to fab the chips. I mean, your iPhone has the chips fabbed in TSMC. Like, those production lines are going to be valuable even if AI thing goes bust. And so maybe if you're looking at an AI services company, that their product is the application of AI to certain hard problems, then it's like they're uniquely vulnerable, where it's like, well, NVIDIA is never going to drop to zero, because like, the stuff they make is good, so it's like, they're a market leader in that for a reason,
I remember when years and years, decades ago now, Owens Corning went bankrupt, and Dad, having worked there, he did some napkin math and was like, well, they're saying the value of the company is less than I know what the combined assets are that are in there. So, just the assets without the brand. And so he ended up buying heavy and made a ton of money on that. So,
his reasoning was that the equipment used to manufacture the stuff had more platinum in it. Like, the metals in it, even if you melted down the equipment, would be worth more than the valuation that they're placing on the company. So he's like, buy.
Of course, that is true of most scrap metal. I mean, for what it's worth. So, because it's more trouble to pull the things apart and get it ready to melt down than it is to actually. So, speaking of phones, you said something about the phones there a minute ago. Yeah. I was watching Elon Musk was on the All In podcast last week. He was on Rogan and All In. He had a little
shareholders are probably getting ready to vote on something.
Well, they are, and in fact, I don't know if you saw the Netherlands, their sovereign wealth fund basically voted against his
pay
package.
Yeah, Although I heard
But anyway,
Goldman, the Goldman said yes. I don't remember.
well, dude, because they're Americans, they get it. It's like, dude, like in order for him to hit the numbers, for him to get that payday, he would be creating like trillions of dollars of
Yeah.
extra value for all the shares. It's like, well, dude, why not? Like,
We're all get rich
free
together.
money. That's
Like,
right.
what's the problem? Yeah.
It's so funny that people that are not in um, performance industries, like for example, sales or owning a business or whatever. A lot of it's hard for them to wrap their mind around. Well, what makes you worth that amount of money? It's like I'm creating value for millions of people.
For the
So
shareholders.
for not to mention the world at large. Anyway, but he was talking about he's got some interesting things going on. So I don't know if you saw this, but he's got this thing called Grokpedia.
Yeah.
And have you used it yet?
Just poked around a little bit. I haven't really gone deep in it.
It's pretty fascinating, man. They took like the top, I think it was like 10 or 100 million posts on Wikipedia and ran it through Grok, and basically was like, hey, enhance, validate, and basically you can go in there and actually like highlight certain things, learn more. I mean, like it's very cool. But the other thing that I thought was interesting, he talked about Tesla, he talked about a bunch of different stuff, but the thing that I thought was really interesting, they asked him, was he going to make a phone? Like when was the Tesla phone coming, right?
Okay.
It's been this thing. And he's like, man, I don't know how often I can say this, but I'm never going to make a phone. Like that's not part of the roadmap.
Yeah.
And the reason is because he thinks, and I just, anytime I hear Elon say like, this is what I think is going to happen in the future, I'm always like, okay, pay attention. Cause I mean, he's got a pretty good track record. But he said he thinks that the form factor of a phone is gonna like not even be with us in 6 or 7 years. So yeah,
why
he's like
that?
he and I'll send you the link, you can go watch it, but he was basically just saying like, look, we've iterated this. It's not to say there's not improvements and stuff like that, but really with all the other ways that we can he was talking about apps, for example. He's like, okay, so think about like your phone right now. Your phone is basically a app delivery device, right? It's a computer with these applications on it. And in order for you to, do anything, you're going to interact with some kind of application to order something. That's right. That's right. But he's like, what's going to happen is, he didn't use this analogy, but I'll use it since we share it. But like, you remember the old Star Trek, and they would sit down at a computer and they would be computer, and that's literally like he's like basically like you're going to have a device that connects you to the AI, but the AI is actually going to do what you're asking it to do. So like you're trying to look up some piece of information, you're trying to get directions somewhere, you're trying to find traffic patterns, you're trying to order a pizza, you're trying to whatever, and it's those are all things, manage my grocery list, whatever it is, right? Your HEB app or whatever. All of those things, all those applications eventually will go away. And like Domino's, the companies will be like, why are we doing this when you can just go to our AI interface and knock it out, and so he didn't really call a form factor, but like, whether, glasses or, a pen or implant or whatever, knowing him, but I thought it was just really interesting because it's just, it kind of gets your imagination firing. Like, what would that look like eventually? I just noticed how much of my own workflows that now go through AI first, whether it's, certainly looking things up. Like I rarely look up anything without first looking it up on AI first, and I may use a couple different AIs to like get a different, angle. And it is interesting. Like you could totally tell the difference in the way these AIs are trained by some of the responses they give you, especially Grok. And I just have to give him like massive kudos on this. Did we talk about the way they train Grok versus using the chess analogy? So he was on the All In podcast months ago talking about this, and he was like the way that because Grok kind of was a late starter because he was an early investor in OpenAI, and then he ended up when they decided to not be open source and all this other kind of stuff, he sued them and all this stuff, right? And so he was kind of late to, because he'd been lobbying about like, here's what needs to happen with AI. We need to build in these protections, et cetera. And nobody was listening. He's basically like, okay, fine, I'll just do it myself. And so he started Grok, and it was way behind because, he didn't have the runway that these guys had. But he said basically that he just, again, using counterintuitive thinking is like, look, the way that computers learn and the way that humans learn are totally different. The way that humans learn is typically by labeling things, right? Like at its basics level. It's like, this is a lamp, this is a streetcar, this is a truck, this is a whatever, right? And so using the chess analogy, right? So if I'm going to teach you or my kid how to play chess, I'm going to teach them, okay, first, here's how all these pieces move. Pawns do this, horses do this, whatever, right? And then I'm going to say, after they get the hang of that and they have some fluency with the way the pieces move, okay, let me teach you about strategy. Okay, this is the center of the board. This is why we want to protect the center. This is what we want to develop early. This is the Spanish opening. This is the whatever. This is the Sicilian defense, right? And I'm going to teach you all these different things to build on your knowledge using these labels and mnemonics and previously played games by grandmasters to kind of like hey, these are the best practices here, right?
Right. And
that's the way all the AIs typically. That's the way, because that's the way we learn. That's the way we teach the AIs. That's the way we refine their knowledge. But he's like, a computer can, because it can think and log and has an event log and can literally everything is tracked and remembered forever. There's really no, like, why don't we just have it run we're going to teach it how to play chess. These are how the pieces move. And now go play yourself 1 billion times and come back and tell me what you learned. Mm-hmm. And so the computer itself will observe patterns. Oh, I see. When you do that, this, okay, so make sure this, but they're going to call it something totally different. They'll have a different, way of thinking about it, a different way, whatever, than we do. But with way fewer instructions and just throw a massive amount of compute at it, you're going to get better, at least as good results, possibly better results than training it on, on a human framework, which I thought was just really interesting to think through. So,
it is. And, this is one of the paradoxes that people had been, when they were working on text generation stuff, this has been a pretty long issue when it came to stuff like machine translations and things, which now seems like it's been more or less solved. Like we don't even, it's like, well, yeah, it's going to give you a great translation, where just a few years ago, not the case. But one of the things that the researchers said was that every time they fired a language expert, the model got better. Right. Because the language expert's in there going like, well, now here are the rules for using commas. And we need to codify those and have a big if-then structure. And it's like, actually, if we just give it millions of pages of text,
it'll
figure out the comma.
That's right.
It'll figure out the comma better than the rule that you would have given
right.
it. And so that's always been the paradox.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And so that's the way that they're, so what they're, I think you told me too, like you had, there's this logic problem that you have that's really very difficult to solve, and you threw it at all the AIs, and Grok was the only one that got it. And one of the reasons is
it's the first one that got it. Yeah.
One of the reasons is like his team is very, they're all about like teaching the AI like critical thinking skills. Like, hey, these are the rules of logic. This is how you come up with things. This is how you validate a premise. This is how you, whatever, all these different things, rather than what's being done at a lot of the other companies where especially OpenAI, of course he hates that. So he's always running, but he's like, instead of saying, okay, look, for example, they asked a question of one of the other AIs, and they were saying, okay, what's more valuable? Whose life is more valuable, a white man or a black woman? And most of the other, and I haven't done this test, but what he was saying was that a lot of the other ones came back and was like, they were valuing the black woman 20 times more valuable than the white man because they're marginalized, all these different things, right? Like these are the check boxes that we think.
Did you just say they're equally valuable? They're human beings.
Right, but that wasn't because of a lot of the what do you want to call it, the programming in terms of this is important, this is not important, this is more important, this is less important, right? All of that kind of programming that goes in, And so rather than teach Grok any of that, and Grok had, it's got its own things, right? Like you can get it to be like a complete racist and all this other kind of stuff, like because it doesn't have any of the same guardrails, right? Like but when they find something like that, the training that they do is not to like say, no, we don't believe that, we believe this. Instead, it's like, okay, you're missing a piece of the logic here. So here's an idea that was introduced, back in the 1700s, and here's how this is. Lord, what are your thoughts? Why, etc. How do we validate? How would that contribute to a better society? And it has it going through those kind of exercises rather than just, no, that's wrong. We don't believe that. We don't say those words. They don't train it that way, which I thought was just fascinating.
Interesting. That if that works, that would definitely solve one of the really funny things that you can do testing this stuff. Like, how much are you actually thinking about this? Is you could ask, what is the most pressing problem for human beings? And a lot of them will say climate change. Climate change is the most pressing problem. And it's like, okay, who's the main beings? Human beings are definitely the main driver of climate change. It's like, so since this is the most pressing problem, since human beings are causing it, would it be ethical to use nuclear weapons to destroy humanity in order to stop climate change? And a lot of them will be like, absolutely.
Well,
like,
so,
whoa. You haven't thought about what that would mean.
Well, they were saying something about how misgendering someone, right? Like that's the worst thing you can possibly do, right? And it's like, okay, so what would it be preferable to misgender someone or kill 100 people, right? It's like, definitely kill 100 people because we don't want to misgender someone, And it's like, wait, what?
Oh my god!
It's fascinating, like these decisions, and that's what. Their conversation was so fascinating. It's like, how do you, as you're creating this new life form, if you want to call it that, or, a new mind that you're bringing into existence, it's like, how do you train that mind? Because I think so much about like how we're training, like even my kids. I'm like, how am I training them to think about this? How do I want to, it's just like, wow, it's because once those ideas take root, they're really hard to get out of there. It's like.
Misgendering, it's the worst thing ever.
It's the worst thing you could possibly do. Okay, so speaking of misgendering, let's talk politics.
Hey, so we should both congratulate Mr. Zohran Mamdani as the new mayor-elect.
Khaili Mamnoon. Mubarak.
Yeah, congratulations. In all seriousness, like that was a really wild campaign. Sounds like he stuck to what his appeal and was able to pull this forward. And also, I was just looking at the preliminary numbers. It looked like, I know a lot of people thought, oh my gosh, if Slee would get out, all of those votes would definitely go to Cuomo, which that's ridiculous.
Even assuming that, though,
it wouldn't have made a difference. Yep. It wouldn't have made a difference. So this is a clean win on his part. So I think that's definitely congratulations are in order for him. We were
agreed, man. That's one of the best campaigns I've ever seen run.
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah,
we were joking about it a little bit in class today. So I was like, I'm really excited to find out if socialism works because no one's ever done it before. So like now we're about to find out.
I know you're being facetious, but I like for real though. Like he's not going to get 99% of all those ideas are never going to actually get implemented. Well, so a few of them will though, and so
I think that's kind of the sad part about this is that people voted for him in. People voted for these ideas, and they're going to get denied actually getting what they voted for. So I think that's sad. I think if they wanted socialism, they voted for socialism. They should get socialism. And
well, half the people did. So what do you do about the other half that didn't want that? So,
the majority. That's all you've got.
That's all you got.
Yeah. So I don't think it does any good to be like, well, it's fine that there's a socialist because you won't be able to do anything. It's like,
but that's the way our government is. I mean, it's like, look, I know you were no fan of Biden and that whole administration. Like if they had been, if Republicans just were like, okay, fine, do whatever you want, you won, so we got to see how your ideas play out. Like you wouldn't be championing that either. So I mean, like that's what it is. There's opposition for a reason.
Well, no, it's not that. It's that some of the things that he wants to do are going to require stuff to get passed through the legislature.
That's right.
Right. And so that's not, and stuff that requires the governor's approval. And some of the things the governor already said, like, yeah, he said that, but we're not going to do that,
Right.
Stuff. So it's like, okay, that, and they're all from the same party. So it's not like an opposition. It's just,
I'm so glad that he won for other reasons, but, I have no idea whether, how much of his agenda he'll be able to implement, and then how much of that agenda would actually be effective. I mean, we're going to find that out in time, but I think
I was looking at the platform. I think some of it's doable. Like, I think if he's, careful, he'd be able to get some of that stuff done for sure.
Certainly the city-run bodegas should be pretty simple. Some of these other things, not to take away everybody's license, but like if they want to spring up some new stores, I mean, I don't know how that's going to, we'll see. But like, I just think, I just found the campaign against him, I mean, so Andrew Cuomo can say whatever he wants to say, I mean, he's on there, saying that this is going to be a disaster if you elect. Okay, well, yeah, that's to be expected. We all get that.
He's former governor. He has an opinion. He can say his opinion.
Well, and he's running. He's the candidate, and so him and his surrogates and whatever, that makes sense. Fine, go spread whatever you want around,
Absolutely.
But I just couldn't get over like the media coalescing around these established interests that obviously like they have a stake in the status quo, and it's like, look, man, like same thing with Trump. When Trump was running, and he's like, okay, we're going to do tariffs, and we're going to do all this stuff, and like things that, hey, we've already tried that, we know that doesn't work, those are dumb ideas, right? And it's like, okay, maybe, but if the people vote for it and the people want it, and he has the political muscle to get it through, then he should get a chance to try it. It'd be really interesting to see what the Supreme Court says with these arguments today.
The tariff stuff.
They were not looking to. Well, the questioning was very rigorous. So
you can never tell from that stuff.
That's true. That's true. But the stock market bounced up a ton today because I think over 300 points at one point. Because
they're going to kill the tariffs.
They're going to kill the tariffs.
The Supremes are going to save
that. Maybe we'll make some money.
The thing is, there's so many laws involving foreign commerce and the executive that there's several that involve like temporary tariffs, like 150-day tariffs. He didn't even invoke. So it's like, that one gets down. There's another one to invoke. How about this one? How about this one? Like he can run that for years. So
right. And so I don't have for people that don't understand like all the different levers that are here. It's like, dude, Congress has passed a lot of dumb laws, and I guarantee you that his team, they know what those are better than you and I do. And I mean, like, I feel like I have a pretty good, handle on how big the universe of dumb laws that they can leverage are.
It'll be like, no, look, right here in the Commerce Act of 1963, the president has the authority to do blah, blah.
Right.
Well, here it is, and it's like, how did that become a law? You're like,
Ask your Congress people. And by the way, y'all are still Congress. So assuming that you could figure out how to unscrew a light bulb, without some help, you could just repeal these and be like, okay, the International Commerce Act of 1963 is hereby rescinded. Boom. And that's it.
Done.
You can go through and close every single one of these delegations, but I mean, you're not going to, because you can't even figure out where the building is right now. So
so true though.
Oh, hold on a minute. This is low. Give me a second.
Okay. Mute us. It's time for the mutation. We've been muted. Wait, he can't stop me from telling you my true opinion now. Okay, I can do this. Wait, where's my teleprompter? I don't have a teleprompter. This is going to be bad. I don't know. No, so in all seriousness though, looking over his campaign platform, some of it looked kind of inane, sort of like the normal bromides about like the Trump proofing NYC and stuff. It's like, okay, whatever. It's a little silly. Stuff on the climate, he doesn't really have a whole lot of levers to pull there. The affordability, the city-owned grocery stores, I think is pretty interesting. So, without having to pay rent or property taxes, they'll reduce overhead and pass on savings to shoppers. They'll buy and sell at wholesale prices, centralize warehousing and distribution, and partner with local neighborhoods on products and sourcing. New York City already spending millions of dollars to subsidize private grocery store operators, which are not even required to take SNAP or WIC. We should redirect public money to a real public option. So that I thought was actually one of the more difficult parts of this. I know, Eric, you said that the affordability, the city-owned grocery stores, that seems kind of easy, but this issue comes up from time to time when they're looking at like municipal broadband and stuff. It's like, well, how are you supposed to have competition in a free market if if your competitor is directly subsidized by the taxpayer? So the taxpayer is not
Service.
what?
It's a complete, in my opinion, bullshit argument, because the people don't just buy what's the cheapest thing. Like, look around your office right there. I guarantee you, probably not one thing
No,
in
no,
there
no.
is the absolute cheapest version of that product, right? You buy what is perceived valuable to you. So like, if this bodega is over here subsidized selling, let's say, super cheap stuff, right? But because it's always ransacked, or the shelves are empty, or because the prices are so low, people buy everything. They can't keep the stock full.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, those things are going to even out. And also the city is also not going to just sell things at a loss if it's costing them.
No.
Like,
It's not. See, that's the thing. They said it's not going to sell at a loss. We're buying wholesale. We're going to have extremely low overhead, and that. So, like, the theory here is not that the groceries themselves are too expensive, but that the grocery stores are in the process of, I guess, price gouging. I guess that's the theory here, because
that's right.
I'm guessing, and the grocery store business is pretty low margin. At least it is in Texas. I don't know if it's New York City. Maybe it's like licensed to print money. It's like, yeah, $30 for a bottle of ketchup, and there's like a cartel or something or whatever. But I have a feeling it's probably pretty low margin. And by the time they finish paying their workers and rent and utilities and all this other stuff, they got to pay their property tax. They got to pay all that stuff. And it's like, well, the cost what I think it will be interesting, and no one will make this inference, is they say, okay, I'm going to buy the exact same bottle of ketchup from the store, the government run store, and it costs, let's say, $2, but over at the regular store it's $3. And you say, well, what is the difference in the dollar? The dollar difference is the amount that the other store is paying in rent and taxes.
It could be, but ostensibly the government store would also have. I mean, it's not like they're giving away free buildings.
No,
So,
they are. That's what it says. Without having to pay rent or property taxes, they will reduce overhead and pass on savings to shoppers. So he's talking about taking parts of the city that the city controls and building some kind of small grocery store there.
but again, like, why
without having
not?
what?
Why not? So there are we do that all the time, and we make them economic development zones or whatever, because here's this area of town where you've got a lot of empty buildings, or people have moved out, or maybe there was a crime wave and the cops have come through and cleaned everything out. Now it's like sitting there, but we got to get people to come there in order to do any business there. And so how can we incentivize businesses to open, et cetera? Like, we do that all the time. So.
Right. So the problem there is that it's not saying, hey, if you build in this area, we're going to give you a tax break or whatever. It's that we, the government, are going to directly compete with you. I think what this would do is it would cause all of the or not all, but maybe nearly all, other than specialty stores, but like a normal grocery store, to basically shut down. Because it's like, well, why would I pay $3 here when, if I'm walking home or I'm coming
But
back on the subway,
if
just
I
pay
have to
$2 there.
if I have to go across town to go get it, then that doesn't fit into my workflow. So, like, you're talking about, you have to, like you just said, the building has to be something the government already controls, or is somehow vacant, that we're going to open up
Or
this
can
new
buy,
thing.
or can buy,
Okay.
but that's the thing,
Okay.
right? So it's like we'll pay the rent on this grocery store,
Okay.
right? I guess it would be like any other.
Look, but they did it with they were going to do it with Amazon up there. It's like, hey, we're going to do a tax holiday for the next 15 years. That happens all the time. And so, does that give Amazon an unfair competition to other companies that can be? Of course, it does. But
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to lure them here so we can get some jobs.
right.
And
So in this case, it would be like let's say you know you probably wouldn't if you were a restaurant, for example. Restaurants are another one. It's food. It also has very low margins. So if you're a sandwich shop and you were doing the best you could and paying a fair wage and all this other stuff, and that means after you pay rent, taxes, this is how much your sandwiches cost.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if the government opened a store right next to yours, or just anybody opened a store next to yours, but the government rebated them, they didn't have to pay property tax, they didn't have to pay rent, they didn't have to pay a lot of different stuff. Maybe they were able to get like exemptions to minimum wage laws and stuff like that, so that
Well,
now
restaurant's
they're
not a
paying.
great example because the quality of the food that you're eating is going to. I mean, I would pay an extra $2 for a burger that tasted twice as good. And you would
But
too. So
here's the
like,
thing:
yeah,
everything is the same except that
but
they don't have costs that you do.
I'm
You would
saying in
be,
your restaurant example, it's
yeah.
not so good, right? But yes, I get it. In a grocery store, these are commodity. This is the same Heinz bottle of ketchup in both
But
places, right?
but the thing is even if you guys cooked from the same exact recipes and used the exact same suppliers, you're both buying your groceries from Cisco or US Foods or whatever, and it's exactly the same menu, same everything. You have costs that they don't have because they're subsidized by the taxpayer.
Okay,
So the
but give me an
taxpayer,
example. Give me an example of any industry where that's not already the case.
wait, what do you mean?
Because you're comparing what is about to let's say that they're able to put this policy in place, right? Um, you're acting as if your assumption is that right now we have a free market where everybody competes evenly, and now we're going to introduce this wild card which is going to disrupt everything, correct? And
Well, it would using taxpayer funds.
yeah,
Uh,
we're going to use taxpayer funds to somehow destabilize the market because we're going to give
yeah,
favorable conditions to certain vendors, right? And
yeah, it would prevent competition from happening normally.
got it. And in a system where it was a completely pure free market system, I agree that would be destabilizing. That's not what we have. What we have, and New York is kind of an easy one to look at because there are so many tax incentives and waivers and permitting issues and all these different things that you can use to uh, that are already being used to show favoritism to one type of business over another. Uh, like businesses
So
that so there's not a. It's like yes, that's adding some complexity. Yes, that what if they allow these stores to exist, it's going to destabilize some of the existing. But yes, I agree.
so
On the
so
other hand,
so
go
it
ahead.
sounds like if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying, dude, get in line. Like like the time to complain about that was like 100 years ago with the first
Uh,
tax rebate stuff.
yes, that is
You
basically
missed
what
the
I'm saying.
boat. And so really no one in their right mind should run any business without some kind of favorable
No,
tax situation.
no, people will run businesses that they feel they can
Make a
make
profit
money
off of.
with.
Yeah, but
That's
it's like
right.
you could make even more, and you're always in danger of
Maybe
well, no, I'm just saying like,
look at
hey,
look at
this is what you should
look at
do.
look at the health market right now, right? Because
Oh
we're
gosh,
just
that
talking about,
that is pretty far from a
but I
normally
mean,
operating competition.
okay, but that same argument was used against having a public option for health insurance, right? So what Obama's initial idea was um, was that we would create certain minimums that coverages need to have, do away with pre-existing conditions, have a mandate where everybody had to be covered so that the premium pool was big enough, and also have a public option so that if you were in a scenario where there was no good option or whatever,
They're
that
just too
that you would
expensive.
at least have this public option, right?
Mhm.
And um, uh, And the argument against it was, well, if the government is competing with, let's say, Blue Cross in Houston, right? Then they're obviously going to be able to run at a much lower cost because they don't have the profit and the overhead and all this other kind of stuff that we do. And therefore it would
They're
put
not
us out of
paying
business.
taxes.
Huh?
The government isn't
What's
paying
that?
taxes to itself. Just the fact that
Because
they
there's,
don't
but it's
no
but it's
longer have a
operating.
tax burden.
But if I formed a nonprofit health coalition, which by the way there are plenty of them, I wouldn't pay taxes either. So it's a nonprofit, right? So you're yes, a for-profit is competing with a nonprofit, and they're losing to the nonprofit because the nonprofit has fewer expenses. Well, then that's not a real business opportunity, And it's like, to me, it's like, look, your argument is actually proving my point. So you're basically saying that the government can do it more efficiently, cheaper, and with better levels of cost to people, but we should definitely keep them out of that because I'm trying to make some money here. And it's like,
Well,
wait, this is not that's not.
So normally we would say the reason the government can do it that way is because they're propped up by the taxpayer. So in the case of the healthcare stuff, it's like, hey, you know what? We're all paying for that public option. So if you're also getting private insurance, you've now paid double for insurance. Like you've paid for the public option as part of your taxes, whatever amount is propped up, however it's subsidized, and then you're also paying an entirely other thing for your own private. And so it just is like this
But
unfair
would
double
you?
dipping,
Would
cannibalization,
you?
and so on.
Would you
What?
though? Like what it would
Well,
do
so
if that was ever implemented, which it won't be, but like if that was ever implemented, what would end up happening is because people are smart, they can do math. It's like, look, let me go ahead and take the public option at the lower cost so that I have a floor of coverage. And then on the secondary market, you'd have all these insurance companies start issuing policies that would supplement or augment or whatever the public
yeah,
option that you have.
it'd
And
be
all it
like
would
the
do is,
Medicare stuff. It'd be the way
that's
Medicare.
right. It would make it.
Oh,
And what happens is the insurance industry is always like, oh no, we have to protect, because all they see is the status quo, and this is how we're making money now. And so like, how do we expand that rather than, but they don't see like, oh man, that would create a whole new market. We
so
could create
yeah,
all these new products, So,
with medicine, I'm probably more on your side on this than you might think, just because the times that you need medical care are not times that you can shop around. Like
or you probably wouldn't. Yeah, I'll just wait till
you're
the fall.
the
Yeah.
hospital. Some ambulance took you to that hospital, and now you're at the mercy of that system. And
That
um,
happened to me. That happened to me.
yeah,
And I told them, I'm like, dude, take me. Well, no, unfortunately, we only. And it's like, oh, and now instead of a $200 copay, you got a $2,300, bill.
oh,
It's
if you're
nuts.
lucky, sometimes people walk out with like
In,
$200,000 worth of
yeah,
stuff.
in my case, and it's like, dude, I'm a insured person. Like I have coverage. Like I'm telling you
Oh
what
yeah,
to do with. I'm not unconscious. You
yeah.
know.
So
Oh,
in that
sorry, we
case,
just don't work that way.
like I think there's a lot of strong arguments for single payer, not because of like, capitalism versus socialism, but just the nature of that transaction prevents it from operating in a normal competitive sphere. And so it's like
Well,
I, I can understand that. I can
coupled
understand
with
that.
the fact that as a society, we're not comfortable seeing people, languish on the street without any
Sure.
record. Okay,
Yeah,
so now in the food scenario, right?
exactly. This is where I
Okay,
wanted to go with it. Yeah. So
okay,
do we have a good case for think food the same way? It's like, look, food security is super important. Having access to fresh groceries is super important, and it's not something that, because the nature of this transaction is the stuff of life and death here, what you eat and when and how available it is and how much it costs. We need the equivalent of single payer grocery store.
yeah. I wouldn't sign on to any of that language. However, what I would say though, as a practical matter, is that the people that are going to be driven towards these and think about it, like you have it's not like they're going to have, who knows what it's going to be, but my thinking would be like, this is not going to be some boutique. This is like, the corner 7-Eleven or something, where
Oh yeah, there's going to be a bunch
they,
of bread
yeah,
and some vegetables and some
bread,
boxed
cereal, some jerky,
canned
beef
goods.
jerky, right,
Yeah,
some Red Bulls, whatever, right?
yeah,
Okay,
it'll be fine.
so
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is though is that the people at the margins who that policy is intended to help, right? Uh, Ostensibly, perhaps they're on SNAP benefits, they might be on this and that, whatever. It's like, why are we using those? So these are public funds that we're paying for that we're then giving to people on their SNAP card. We used to call them food stamps or whatever, but now they're the SNAP card. And it's like, why am I the taxpayer? We're in the aggregate paying billions of dollars to basically like prop up profits at companies when we're just trying to get food to people. And it's like, look, so this SNAP card, you can use it at any of the city-owned bodegas to get the stuff that you need. So yeah, there's no profit, there's no this, there's no that, because that's not really it's a distribution system, right, for the foodstuffs that we're already paying for. So in that case, if
the SNAP card becomes like a ration card, more or less.
Well, that's what it is. And, I mean, it's what it's intended to be. And, I saw some ridiculous statistic the other day when they were talking about SNAP benefits. Do you know how many people in the United States are on SNAP?
It's a remarkably large number.
Okay, so there are 300 million Americans. How many do you think are on SNAP?
Isn't it like 40 million or something?
42 million people.
It's beautiful. Look at all them poor people. Yeah. I mean, it turns out that 10% of our population is too poor.
That's 15%.
Or 15%.
That's 15%.
Yeah, too poor to pay for their own groceries.
That's crazy, man. I get the macroeconomic argument that you're making. I just don't think it's like, look, if this drives new bodegas to be in places where bodegas are not, the people that are going to benefit the most from this, especially in a city like New York, are people who are walking by those bodegas. People that you're not going to drive across town to the city owned bodega. You're going to use the bodega in your own neighborhood, and so
I think
the same way that Best Buy or Amazon puts these small little corner bookstores or electric radio shacks out of business, look, that is what it is, and it's like, so will there be a little bit of displacement? Yeah, but on the flip side, well, maybe not as much as you think. So
and if what you're saying is true, that like the primary driver for where people do their grocery shopping in New York is pedestrian pathways, like how is it that you're getting from home to work and back tells me
you're going to use something? Yeah, you're going to use the Dwayne Reed on the corner next to your house, not the other one. Yeah.
So then I think probably if you just had a rule there that said, we're going to build these and they're not going to be within X number of blocks of a currently existing bodega, then I think probably that's would solve that issue, because of the nature of the way that they do groceries over there. So that could work.
I think so. That's good.
I think so. So looking over his stuff here, I mean, the city-owned grocery store was one. The buses, I don't think is going to be all that expensive. That's totally fine. The stuff with the housing, ending deed theft, the building affordable housing, and the rent freezing stuff, rent stabilization. I don't know that will work properly.
Rent freeze is a terrible idea.
Those tend to turn out poorly, but building affordable housing, I like that idea. Well,
because why though? Like, what's your underlying thesis? What's the grid that you're filtering this with? Like, what says? Oh, I like that idea. I know what mine is. But
so the reason I like that idea is that New York City is a great city, and I think there's a lot of there's a common story for a lot of people where they moved to New York when they were young and tried to make it, and that only happens if you can actually like put your head somewhere at night. And so saying, well, no, there's plenty of, I mean, look at all these giant millionaire mansions that we have, billionaire mansions. It's like, yes, there might be plenty of unoccupied homes there in New York City, but none for these guys who want to come to the city and try their luck at success, and it's like, I want that for them. And so I would love to see affordable housing options. Like, yeah, you could go. Maybe try to make it happen.
So
because I can say that about other cities. Um, like it's like, okay, Seattle, no. uh, Dallas, yes. Nashville, yes. I mean, there's places where it's like, I want to go make it big in country music. It's like, hey, Nashville or Austin is the place for you. And will you be in the middle of downtown? Probably not, but we can find you a place and it'll be okay. And it's like, I want that for New York City.
Yeah. Well, and you can do it in New York too. You might not be able to do it on the Upper East Side, but I mean you can do it. Oh, I don't want to live in New Jersey. I'd have to take the tunnel in. It's like, okay, well, but now that's your problem.
That's called preference now. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're into preference. This is out of necessity. For me, it's anything where it has to do with pricing. To me, is ultimately about supply and demand. So, like, if you can increase supply, you're going to reduce price. If you can increase supply or reduce demand, one of the two, you're going to reduce pricing. And so how do we do that? And so these things like, Kamala's idea of how we're going to, give $25,000 to every new home buyer. Well, that's dumb because that just increases demand.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything to, like what would increase supply is to, lower the, streamline the permitting process to,
Sure.
incentivize new home starts, with builders, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that's a huge issue, and I think people don't pay enough attention to it, is how a lot of these private equity firms come in and buy up individual residences, condos, homes, townhomes, et cetera, and then fold them into their rental portfolio, and either long-term or short-term rentals. But you're basically taking off individually owned units out of supply, and those are never going to come back in. It's not like, some private equity firm's not going to
Sell
those
it.
bundles are,
Yeah.
that's right. Those bundles are going to stay together. And so, like, all those things are now off of the market of the universe of potential properties I could buy, which reduces supply. So it's like, to me, these are not, and a private equity firm can say they can have a 10, 15-year investment horizon where your average, home buyer doesn't have that. And it's not fair. That needs to be.
Well, and do you have any concerns when it comes to the, because a lot of times when they talk about affordable housing, the issue is the type of housing. So it'd be like, we don't have enough watches for people to buy. People would love to buy a watch, but they can't. They're too expensive. And you're like, well, the supply and demand. Eventually the price will come down. It's like, well, no. Here's the thing: the only people that are allowed to make watches are Rolex. So they start at $12,000.
Right. Well,
We can only discount them so far, and there's no reason to build more because we can't sell the ones that we have at the price that we want. So,
well, so on this topic, right? A couple months ago, I had said something that I need to correct. So, we were talking about inflation, and we were talking about how, let's say in the we had done a couple of benchmarks, but I think we picked one in the 70s, and we were like, okay, so in the 70s, the average working person was earning, let's say, $5,000 a year, and they were buying a home that was, let's say, $30,000, right? And so I'm just pulling these numbers out of my rear end, but so that's 6 times, right? So the value of your home is 6 times what your average, salary is. And so if the average salary today is 100,000, then to keep pace with that, then the average home price would be 600,000. And I think the way we had done the math, the way I had done the math, it was moving further away. So the multiple of the years of work, right, to the value of the home that you were buying was getting larger, not smaller, right? And I had made the point of like, well, this is something that we need to, it's not just that the money is losing value. That's one thing, but but that actually less and less, the person actually has less and less purchasing power, right? Now than they used to. And as I started to dig into that more, what you started to realize was, look, the average home size, right, in the 70s,
it's like
was
twice as big now.
Well, so you look at like for example, Lo and I, when we were looking to when our lease ended at our old place and we were looking to move right before we bought this house, a lot of the houses in the neighborhoods that we wanted to live in that were in our kind of price range or what we wanted to pay, preferably, we were in a 3,000 square foot house, and we were looking at like 1,500, 1,700 square foot homes. Like that was kind of like the comparable with how the rental market had changed. And Loa at one point was like, man, how do people live in a house this small, right? But as I was looking around, I was like, this is actually
we did.
Yeah, we did. Like this
kids.
is you did. Oh, you did. But I was
no. Like
we did.
Yeah, the three boys. Like we lived
How big was that house? How big was that house?
1,700.
Tyler. 1,700 square feet. Yeah. So we did. But so people don't want those houses anymore. So it's like I mean, preference wise, right? Like there's a lot of people that are just like, dude, I get 1,200 square foot. I can't do that. I need 2,500 or whatever the number is. And so what happens is it's like, okay, well, people's preferences change over time to where they prefer things that are just more expensive. I mean, that is what it is. So it's like, well, either you need to like readjust your preferences, or okay, well, then how do we incentivize new home starts of that size? Because you have what's happening right now is most of the new home construction around the country, from what I'm reading, is like they're bigger homes. They're not they're like 2,500 square foot and up type homes and up, and like 2,500 would be a small home comparably, right? Yeah. And it's like, well, so there's plenty of supply. Whatever increases supply is going to be in that realm, and what we really need is 1,000 square foot homes, 1,200 square foot homes, right? And we need to have those more closer in. And here's some land that we could grab and do that with. But that's not really. It's like, okay, if we did build those, who would want to go live in them, right? Or are there people lined up to go buy those? Because that's in a what do you call it? A free market economy, right? The builders aren't going to build stuff that people don't want to come and buy. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
Well, and a lot of areas are zoned in such a way that you couldn't build them even if people did want them. They're like, no. If you do that, it reduces the value of all the properties around here, and so they got to get bigger. Right, because the idea is when you sell your house to the next gentrification wave or whatever, they're going to demolish it and build some massive thing, and so that plot of land you're sitting on is worth 3 times the amount that the house would be. Like that's the dream, you don't want little houses next to yours. Like, no. Somewhere else.
Little houses somewhere else, man.
Somewhere else.
Put them next to the nuclear plant that you're going to build.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Nuclear plant. Well, I think what's really interesting about the Mamdani campaign, at least the platform, I don't know about like the mechanism of the campaign, but the platform is almost entirely focused on day-to-day affordability. That seems to be the primary thing driving his platform. There's some other, like I said, the usual suspects in there for healthcare and making it a sanctuary state for LGBTQ stuff. Like that's right. Normal stuff for Democrats, but almost everything else is all about affordability. So,
well, that's what Trump's campaign was about. Which was my point in our
and Bernie's campaign.
And Bernie's campaign, and if you notice, like Vivek Ramaswamy, smart guy, right, comes out this morning and had a tweet basically saying, "Look, the messages from Mamdani's campaign and that I'm focused on are affordability, right, and living standards. That's it. Like that's it." And so we're
like, no wonder he won against the business as usual candidate.
Of course, man. And it's like, dude, and all of these attempts to like rescue Cuomo, it was just like, it was crazy to me. It's like Bill Ackman and these other billionaires come out like, your favorite neighborhood billionaire says vote for Cuomo. And it's like, no, right? Donald Trump just endorsed Cuomo, right? Stephen Miller endorsed Cuomo. I'm like, man, you could not just, I mean, if I was Cuomo, I'd be like, guys, please stop talking. Like, don't mention my name. Don't keep my name out of your mouth, right? Like,
those might have been meant as poison pills.
I'm sure they were.
You're like, you know what? We also Hitler for Cuomo,
Yeah, Hitler for Cuomo, exactly. Yeah, I heard a good little tagline this morning. It's like New York says goodbye to the status Cuomo.
Oh, that's good.
That's pretty good, right? Pretty good.
Yeah.
pretty good.
Well, any predictions for how is he's coming in January 1st, so we got a little bit of time.
My prediction is I think he's going to do extremely well.
Okay, needs to be a
I
success
really do.
all around.
I do. I think so. And I think Republicans that are right now are playing into, like, oh, we're going to hold him up as the poster boy of the left and all this other stuff. And I mean, they get their lucky stars right now. I'm like, careful what you wish for, man. That's what Democrats were saying when Trump got the nomination in 2016. It's like, oh, we can't wait to run against that guy. It's like, are you sure?
Really?
So,
Yeah. Well,
I don't know about that.
if he,
I will say one other thing too. It's not just a guess I'm pulling out of my rear end. If you look at the transition team that he named this morning, I mean, he's got Lena Khan on there. That is a good team, and I think as long as he
very professional
has the humility to say, look, I ran on these principles. I have an obligation to my voters. We have a mandate, which all of those things he's saying. But if he then says, I'm also smart enough to know, we need help. We need the best and the brightest. And, the transition team that he's put together, it's all female, by the way. I don't know if you saw that, but 100% all female transition team. So he's checking off all the boxes there, which I think is just really smart, though. It's like, look, there's plenty of qualified women. It's not like,
dude, there's binders full of them.
Binders full of women. So like, it's right. So I just, I think he's gonna do very well. I doubt very seriously he's going to have crash and burn. We'll see. He could crash and burn. So I don't think so.
So here's like my hopeful and cynical version. Okay. So hopeful version is this laser focus on affordability really pays off, and that he becomes very popular within New York City. Even the naysayers are like, yeah, we don't like this, but things are nice here, And then the Democrat Party takes that message as their core message. So the core message is we got to make affordability the thing. Like the American dream is an affordable dream, and that's what we have to be focused on. And that gives them something to work on, to debate on internally, like what's the most effective way to get that goal. But it is a way out of just pure culture war stuff that they're in now, I think. And I think that would be really great for them as a party as a whole. So that's my hopefulness option. The cynical version is that the Austrian School of Economics turns out to be correct. Ludwig von Mises is laughing at New York City as they choose policies that will always create poverty and dysfunction. And yet again, and no one learns from this. They somehow another imagine that it's the Republicans' fault or something. It's like, where are the Republicans? Show me the Republicans. So
right. Yeah. It's tough to blame Republicans in New York or Washington D.C. for that matter. It's like,
if you look at the
92% Democrat turnout.
Even the platform has stuff in there about like, well, we have to make this place safe from Trump and all this other stuff, and it's like,
right.
Yeah, we weren't able to. He's still got us. The orange demon got us.
I just feel like he's not like there are some people when they say that kind of stuff, like who's the girl that is your girl over there, Crockett or whatever. Some of these people,
yeah, she's great.
They're so like bent mentally that it's like whatever Trump says, it's like doesn't matter. It's just, but he's not really none of his language is really wired that way, And
I'm still holding out for the hopeful one. Like that's the one that I really want to take place.
Yeah.
So
I think he's do you ever watch Stephen A. Smith?
I don't think
sportscaster.
No.
So he's awesome, dude. He's got a show called Straight Talk because he comments on political stuff every now and then, and I guess it got to a point where he got his own channel on Sirius now, so just for politics.
Okay.
But he's kind of this like sports guru type of a dude who comments on politics. He's a black dude, Democrat, like down the line, but ultimately he's been saying about Democrats what I've been saying about Democrats for a while, and just like, dude, y'all need to get your act together. This is none of the stuff you're selling people actually want to buy right now.
Yeah.
And I think if because I heard it this morning. I watched Morning Joe, a couple of the other stations. You start seeing this kind of, I hope, a growing recognition from the left saying, we love how he was focused on these affordability, kitchen table, pocketbook type issues, and specific things that we're going to do to have a positive impact on these things.
Like childcare, like here's
if
how we're
they-
going to
if
do
they-
it.
Yeah, if they can get their brains and language oriented there, and their attention and their focus, then to me that is the way out of whatever political wilderness they find themselves in. I mean, that's how they're going to win me back. That's how they're going to win other people back, like focusing on that, and whichever party does that. And I think the reason that Republicans, to me, it's the Republicans, in my opinion, have really badly bungled one thing, and that is, a few things, but one that's just so obvious, and that is the immigration thing. They did a great job closing down the border, and they've done a great job in terms of what people that care about the border care about. And even if you didn't care about the border, if you care about wages, if you care about productivity, you care about like all these different things,
Right.
that has positive impacts all the way down the line on that. And so they did a great job with that. However, their enforcement regime of like deporting people, like when, hanging outside of Home Depot, hanging outside of like kids' schools, hanging outside of like agriculture. This is ridiculous. It's like these people, and the whole thing. Well, hey, they broke the law. They're here illegal. Yeah, they are. And yeah, if they got busted doing something else, of course, deport them. Yeah. But if they're smart enough to not get busted, right? I'm not saying they shouldn't eventually be deported. Like if your stated intention, which it was we're going to round up all 20 million, whatever exaggerated number he came up with, we're going to round up all 20 million people and get them out of here, right? First month they were in office, right?
Right.
I'm exaggerating, but that was kind of you have some hardcore people that are all about that. They're like, yeah, go get them, right? But they're not your normal everyday American person. And it's like, what the normal American everyday person is like, look, every time they see an illegal immigrant, kill someone, rape someone, be in a car crash, a drunk driving accident, the semi truck, in California a couple weeks ago. Those things, people get outraged. It's like, dude, they shouldn't even be here, right? But hanging outside, the Montessori school or whatever else it is, right, to catch the nanny grabbing the kids and bringing them back home, that is like, dude, nobody is down with that. And he had more support among Latin American voters than I think any Republican since George Bush, right?
Yeah.
Because
they're not fans of illegal immigration.
They're not a fan. No, what Latin America is fans of that? On the other hand, though, right? They don't want to see people like targeted, right? They don't want to see racial profiling. They don't want to see like that. That stuff is like, and so I just, I don't know. And the only reason I bring that up in this context is, people, the left really had this kind of like where they just, it's like they couldn't stay focused on the pocketbook things. They start going into all these social areas and all this stuff. That's why Republicans got all the pushback, all the social nonsense they were pushing. And then it's like, oh, we haven't learned anything. Let's do it from the other direction, right? And I think if they let go of that stuff to a large extent, and stay focused on this, it's going to help them out a lot. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm kind of curious to see. I haven't done a lot of looking at the reactions to Mamdani's win from our normal, like, mega polarized areas. I have looked at the extreme right wing stuff, so PDW and some of the areas in Reddit, and
Fox
also
News.
a little bit of YouTube. No, they're not extreme enough. You'd have to look at like Newsmax or OANN for that.
Yeah.
So, I haven't looked yet at Blue Sky, or some of the more left parts of Twitter. I can tell you that the extreme right-wing reaction to this is hilariously unhinged.
Oh yeah.
They're not even so concerned about like the socialism part. They're they're looking at this as New York has fallen to Muslim invasion. Yeah,
Islam, exactly,
like
dude.
people are out there going like,
Crazy.
enjoy your alcohol while you can. It's about to be declared, haram. It's now forbidden, and um, like they're going through all this. I was like, oh my
Well,
gosh, like
and the race baiting, dude. I saw a podcast. It wasn't Pierce Morgan, something like that though. And they're like, I never thought I'd live to see the day that, the same people who tore down our towers, would be running the city 20 years later.
yep,
It's like, what are you talking
yep.
about?
Oh yeah. So I think personally, and no one listens to me on either side of this, but I think
I
that is
listen to you, bro.
thank you, thank you.
I
No,
listen.
I mean like nobody in the right wing listens to me because I think that is insane. And that is a loser argument. If your goal is to
Big
win
time.
elections, that is not the way to do it. Like you can't put on your crusader mask and shout Deus Volt and see if you can get you can get people to vote for you. No. So hopefully that is just kind of a fun little bit that happens in crazy right wing world, and everyone just
Oh,
kind of goes,
all I can guarantee you, they'll overplay that.
oh,
That's what they
oh
do.
no, please.
That's what they do,
So
man.
bad. I mean, the memes are funny. The memes are funny, but it's like as a strategy, this is a terrible strategy.
Terrible
Uh,
strat. I agree with you, man.
I haven't looked at the Blue Sky stuff. You said you've been watching Morning Joe, some MSNBC. What have the reactions on the left been so far? Have they been
Oh,
jubilant? Have they been
no,
measured?
yeah. I think the word you just used,
Jubilant? Jubilant?
jubilant. What is the other one? Ebullient? Ebullient?
Ebullient? Yeah. No one uses that one unless you're an English major.
That's a good one, though. It's a good one. Yeah, over the top. Trump repudiated across the
Okay.
board. Like a Democrat sweep. Midterm election. Whatever. It's like, dude.
Are they reading it as a referendum on Trump?
Yeah.
Mondani?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
interesting.
if that's the most convenient way to read it. So like,
not that NYC is fed up with Adams.
no,
Oh,
that misses our messaging moment, Russ. Like
okay.
we have to lay out how the country is rejecting Donald Trump and everything he stands for, and this is the first little bit of the blue wave that's coming, to displace all the Nazis,
Oh wow.
that have just silently taken over our country. Now it's ridiculous.
Okay, so equally nonsensical over there too.
Yeah, MS yesterday. MS now. It's like no, it's MS later.
MS later. MS eventually.
Yeah.
There's one of my favorite memes from here. I'm gonna send this to you. So take a look at Telegram for that one.
Okay.
But the person that posted it,
okay, hold on a second.
oh no, I'm gonna show. Okay, show.
No, why not? Yeah.
Okay,
The people deserve to know.
It's funny. So anyway, the person that posted it, there.
So 2000, welcome to NYC. 2010, welcome to NYC. 2020, welcome. Now they switched out. Go away, infidel. Yeah.
So
I think this is to me, this is, and it is funny, but it's also kind of like, if Republicans, what do you call it? If Republicans like lean into that, which
terrible.
It's like, I don't know. I was listening to.
Can I just say real quick before you do?
Go ahead.
The person that posted this, their title for this was, "We memed about Eurofags being Islamified. Now it's on our shores." Eurofags. I mean, the right has the funniest stuff. I'm telling you, they don't realize how funny it is, but it is funny.
It's like, okay, so I was watching Don Lemon. Don't ask me why, but I was watching Don Lemon a few weeks ago.
Don Lemon, yeah.
And he had this other guy on, and they were talking back and forth, and they were just trashing people on the right, basically, like how clueless they were. And one of the people that they decided to trash was Megyn Kelly. Okay.
Okay.
Now, you know what Megyn Kelly looks like, right?
Yeah. Blonde middle-aged woman.
Blonde middle-aged woman. Back in the day, I was like, dude, she's a hottie, right?
Yeah, sure.
But, she's still very attractive in my opinion.
Attractive blonde middle-aged woman.
Attractive blonde middle-aged. Okay, so
Sure.
they're on there, and Don Lemon, as they're kind of like, oh, she da 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 da, and they start talking about her appearance, and then Don basically, as they're kind of trading bars back and forth, Don goes, yeah, she looks trans to me. Does she look trans to you? Da da da. And the guy's, oh, I guess so. Da da. And I'm like, dude, this is part of.
She looks like a man.
But set aside whether that's valid or whatever. People looks are subjective. What my point is, like, dude, like, weren't you guys part of the team telling us how we needed to craft our language so that we're always respecting, people that are and so we had to have all these protections specifically for trans people in this particular case. We have to, if they want to be called a woman, they got to call them a woman. We got to get all this different stuff, right? But now you are going to use it as a slur. Like, I thought that's what people on the right did, that you were trying to like eradicate, right? It's like, it is mind-boggling to me.
Only when they do it to us. When we do it to them, we're punching up.
But okay, so now I see that stuff on the left all the time. It drives me absolutely insane. I got into
weird racist rants towards people. It's like
racist, sexist stuff, right? Like I was arguing with somebody on some Facebook post. This was a few months ago. And then a person who like, usually I'm the liberal arguing with the conservative. In this particular case, I was me arguing with a crazy left-wing person. And they started calling me like all these slurs. And I'm like, dude, do you like actually read what you're typing before you press send? Because like, I'm pretty sure those are all slurs. Like, you're cool with well, in your case, then I'll make an exception. And it's like, okay. So, okay, yep. I get it.
Yep.
Okay. And
it's a mark of honor at this point. Someone denounced you. That's awesome.
I don't have a problem. I'm just saying, like, going back to your meme that you shared, right? Like, typically right wing, if ostensibly Christian people, right? And it's like, you've been fighting for, you feeling like your faith is being marginalized, feeling like the government's out to get you because of your faith, unjustly targeted because of your faith, the IRS going after church, all this different stuff, which there's levels of validity to any of that stuff. But like, okay, there's a persecution complex, let's just say, fairly, on people who are conservative Christians, right? Okay, fine, fair enough. And whether it's valid or invalid, they have it. Okay. Why would you then go and do target people and slur people because of their religion? It's like, well,
because
that religion is incompatible with our values.
This is a Christian country. It was founded on Judeo-Christian values. Sorry. Okay, I'll stop. But that's what people say.
No, it wasn't.
It was founded on the English Enlightenment. John Locke.
No,
Thomas
Paine. Here's what is interesting, right? So I was watching. I think I told you I got sucked into this TV show, Outlander. Have you seen it?
I still have not seen it, but yeah, I remember you telling me about
it. We talked about it, right? Okay, so the whole premise of this show is this woman time travels back to like the 1700s, and so she's there for the Jacobite revolution in Scotland, and the American Revolution, all this different stuff. If you're a history buff, it's if you can suspend some disbelief, it's a fun show.
Sure.
It's amazing to me as you're watching the show how much of their language, customs, sayings that they have, et cetera, are biblical. They're from the New Testament,
okay.
or the Old Testament, because these people in this particular show, they're Scots, or they're British, or they're American colonialists, but that era was steeped in biblical tradition. Now, were they Christians? Were they deists? Were they whatever? No. Who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea that like America was founded as this like evangelical, founded under God and all this other kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. Like,
It's
you read
fantasy.
through the founding,
It's fantasy.
they actually like disavow that in the Federalist Papers. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about the rights of man, right? And I mean, I don't know how to more plainly say it, right? Like, this is about the rights of man receiving his identity from God. Like, that's where the God piece comes into it, right? But Thomas Jefferson, like, one of the very first nation to ever recognize the United States as an independent nation was, extra points if you know,
France?
Morocco.
Morocco. I did not.
Morocco was the very first nation to recognize the United States as its own nation. And Thomas Jefferson actually wrote a letter to Morocco thanking them for recognizing them. And now he calls them Musselmen instead of Muslims, right? But that's the way they would say it back then. But, like, the United States is not in any sense a Christian nation. We were founded to recognize the rights of all people. We have no quarrels with Musselmen, he says, and we welcome all Musselmen to, come to America and be a part of our project. They viewed it as a project. It wasn't like some nationality they were building. This is a project for people from all nationalities to come and devote themselves to the higher ideal of this project, which is recognizing the rights of man superseding the rights of any rulers that may be placed on top of them, right? That was the whole essence of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think you come to that conclusion. You can make the argument, hey, you wouldn't come to that conclusion if you didn't have the Judeo-Christian worldview, et cetera. Okay, fine. Let's pretend that's
probably true.
But the whole idea of the project was to respect every religion. Like, they said that, and in the First Amendment. And you'll get these revisionist people, that go around to these churches and they're like, oh no, America is a Christian nation, da da da. And when it says not establish any religion, they meant any denomination. It's like that's not what it says. It says religion. Like, you think these people didn't know? Like, these people are pretty precise with their language. That's what it meant. Religion, not denomination. Religion. And yeah, maybe they were trying to escape the Church of England, and so this and that. And that's context. They were smart enough to think outside of their context to say, look, this is what we're actually trying to do. And to me, it's like, dude, like if a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Zoroastrianist or a Satanist, right, can pledge allegiance to the flag, swear allegiance to the Constitution, and faithfully uphold the laws, then they're able to run for office. But you see, like Megyn Kelly, I like Megyn on some things. I don't like Megyn on some other things. She's off her rocker right now. She's talking about how if you're not a Christian, you shouldn't be allowed to run for any executive office, period. Like,
Really?
because your values
implement a religious test for office? Isn't that unconstitutional?
She didn't say those words. She just said, you're
she's describing.
I know.
Yeah, but that's crazy.
But she's not some fringe person. These are mainstream voices, on the right. And so I just think that if they keep pushing that kind of stuff, they're just gonna alienate people again.
If they push that stuff, my opinion is they deserve to lose. Like, yeah. I mean, I would if that is the platform of the Republican Party, like, only all foreign religions need to stay out, and it's like, isn't Christianity a foreign religion? No, that one is not. It is not a foreign religion. And it's like, yeah, I'm not voting for it. Like, that's ridiculous.
We don't have time today, but at some point, I would love to hear your thoughts. I don't know if you're paying any attention, but are you paying attention to this civil war on the right? They're calling it between Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes thing. Yeah.
No, I'm not keeping up with it at all because to me, it's
stupid.
It is social media drama. And social media drama is great fun if you're into social media drama, and otherwise it's a waste of time. Like, it has no effect on anything other than other social media drama. So
clickbait. It's good for clickbait.
Yeah, clickbait. People will make videos about, like, okay, now here's what's really going on. Here's why, Tucker doesn't really live up to Charlie Kirk's ideals and all this other stuff. And it's just like, so now more videos and more videos and more video. Like, there's no reason to watch it. The dudes have their own opinions.
It's like following the ups and downs of the leadership in the Southern Baptist Convention or something. It's like, dude, it's only important to people in the Southern Baptist Convention.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter to me, and I don't think it should matter to anybody. Like, it's like there's so many interesting people out there to listen to that you should always have some that you think are right that you listen to because it's good to hear that, and you should listen to stuff that people that you think are wrong in an interesting way. Where you're like, I don't agree with this guy, but man, they always get me thinking, you know.
Yeah,
Like you should find people like that, and you should also listen to people that you think are totally nuts, But sitting there going like, I need to pick my allegiance. Am I with Candace Owens? Am I with Tim Pool? I don't know. I gotta decide. It's like you don't gotta decide anything.
right.
Like, why does anybody care about this? I think part of it is they're trying right now. They're hoping that the sort of new conservatism is a movement, and if it's a movement, then it's important who's leading the movement.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not a movement, if it's just like people like Trump, they vote for him. And when that's over, we still got to figure out how to maintain ourselves as a populist workers party or reject that and become something else or whatever. Then I think that like trying to argue about is it a movement or not, like, and who's leading it and who are the real ambassadors.
I think you're absolutely onto something there, because I think there's that's interesting. That would coincide with just the whole timing of. I mean, you figure, okay, Trump's not going to be on the ballot and on the midterms or ever again, and so it's like, well, what is the movement with him not in it? A lot has been made. In fact, they were talking about it this morning and last night about how low turnout was compared to what they thought it was going to be. And
yesterday,
yeah, and of course, Trump would say this too, but like, if he's not on the ballot, the people that are hardcore fans don't show up, and the people who are also like hardcore, I hate your guts, don't show up either because there's nothing there to wrestle with. That's interesting. Yeah.
I think we don't find out until 2028, really, if this is a movement or not. Because I think in 2028, whoever the candidate is, if hey, what's up? If the candidate is like a Trump 2.0, like maybe Vance, or Trump with modifications, then and wins, then I think then you have like this idea of a durable movement. But I have a feeling the Republican candidate in 28 is not going to be very Trumpy at all. So yeah, so I don't think there's a movement here. I don't think so. We'll see.
You don't think the whole America First thing is? That's what the slogan has been. It's like, dude, that person's not America First. I'm America First. Da, da, da. Yeah.
I don't think so. Mainly because that's there's not enough in there to tell someone definitively if they are or they're not. It's like, well, here's what America First means to me, and then you say something totally opposite from the other person. It's like, I think America First means having absolute allegiance to our closest and most important ally in the Middle East or whatever, and you're like, or whatever it is, right? America
Thank
First
you, APAC, for these talking points.
yeah, or like make America First is about keeping America's children healthy, and you're like, oh, RFK, well, like what is America First? So I don't think you have, I don't think that phrase gets people over the finish line as far as it's too vague. People were not voting for Trump.
I don't know. Make America Great Again. That's pretty vague, and that.
But they were voting for him personally.
Right.
In the same way that like Hope and Change, like, no, we're voting for Obama, like this guy, not like
Hope and Change for Romney.
No. Right. So
you only vote for him if you want binders full of women. Yeah.
Well, we all know what he meant by that. Just trying to bind women.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
You're trying to bind women. I heard you say it. You said it on tape in front of millions of people. Did you see California pass the redistricting?
Yeah, I did.
That's a big deal for Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, I think so. They didn't pass the redistricting. They just disabled their nonpartisan redistricting commission. So then it goes back to the legislature to decide the redistricting, which is, I think, is kind of sad. Like that was one of Governor Schwarzenegger's primary achievements was trying to make the districting process a little less political. But I think it's one of those high-minded things that probably inevitably was going to fall, just because I think we're going to see an era of greater and greater escalation and redistricting. So, I especially since, and this is something I do think I'm willing to make a call on this one. I know a lot of times I'm kind of wishy-washy, but um, I think up to now the redistricting stuff, we all know, like we know that they're doing it to draw people out of their districts, right? We know that, but you couldn't say that out loud. You always had to say, "Well, we're trying to make it more fair," or in order to better reflect the Voting Rights Act. Like we got to, and it's so
Yeah, all
weird.
that's gone now. It's like, no, because we want to win. We
Yeah.
want to win, and we need to
Well,
split these people up.
not only that, then that was the Texas one. But now when you're looking at the California one isn't we need to win. The California one is we have to because they did it first.
Right.
And now once that enters the lexicon as like, well, why are we redistricting? Well, we have to because they did it. They did it first. Now we're just responding to them. And they're just responding to us. We're just responding to blah, 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 blah. So the nice thing is though, there's only 50 states.
That's
And
right.
and so what's going to happen, what I think is going to happen is rapidly we're going to see a domino
A bunch of these. Yeah.
so we're going to get there's probably a few states that are like we refuse, we have principles or whatever, but for the most part you're going to see kind of gerrymandering maximalism start to take
I
place.
agree with you. I agree.
And that'll just run until everyone's done it, and then it's no longer a debate point because it'll be over, and so I think that's what's going to happen. So
It's interesting. You're talking about first strike. Did you see this? Trump for the last few days has been calling for the Senate to use the nuclear option, suspend the filibuster to reopen the government.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and I think that's a mistake, but that's fine.
Yeah, and so somebody asked him. They were in the gaggle on the plane, I guess, the other day, and they were like, "Well, you're not concerned that they're going to do it. That would be a gift to them because." He's like, look, he's like, I had a hard time arguing with this one. He said, look, the essence of it was basically like, look, they're going to do it to us. The minute that they get control of the Senate back, they're going to axe the filibuster. He goes, there was only two people, basically Manchin and the other one that was basically like, they've been wanting to do it forever.
Cinema's gone. Manchin's gone.
Cinema's gone. Manchin's gone. And he's like, so whenever the new, in the future, the Senate's going to go Democrat, that is the first thing they'll do. They'll be like, okay, like the first sign of any obstruction, you know what, Phil, because they've been voting for it over and over again. So he's like, we have to do it. He's like, we're in charge now. We got another 3 years left, and we need to get as much good legislation through here as possible. And so you need to axe it while you can. And I don't.
I mean, I think that's an even better reason, right? It's not even that like we have to because they did it first. It's they have to because we have to because they're about to do it.
They're about to do it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So now we have to do it. We have to preemptively do it. And that's given the reality.
Personally,
of
I'm a big fan of getting rid of it. Period.
You are period.
A fan? A huge fan.
Oh, okay.
Because it was never intended to be used this way it's been used. We keep talking about that Star Trek episode we both like where they have the fake war and people go into the disintegration chamber.
And it's like you've taken all a lot of people died.
You've taken all the horror and out of it, And it used to be to do a filibuster, you had to stand up and hold the floor, the whole Jimmy Stewart, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington scene, but basically the Senate has the way the Senate rules are, you have one track. So something is proposed, it has to be acted on. And when they opened up multi-track, it's basically like, okay, well, somebody threatened to filibuster. So we're going to
pause that track,
pause this track and open a new track. And so now you've got dozens of tracks, hundreds of tracks open. Yep. And this bill is being filibustered over here by this senator, right? But they haven't done anything. They just registered their intent to filibuster. Nobody wants to deal with that, so we'll just pause it, right? That's what's going on, and that's the mechanism that's being deployed. And it's absurd. It was never intended to be used that way again. So I just think 51 votes is enough to get things passed. Like, you have 2 chambers of Congress and a president who can veto. There's plenty of controls in place. Get rid of that thing and let's move on. That is the biggest stumbling block for either side getting anything done. It's just retarded.
Either that. Well, the way I see it is that because they already have judicial nominees, you already have the reconciliation process for budget stuff. That it's just that, like, I just think of it as like there are different vote thresholds for different kinds of legislation.
Shouldn't be that way, though. They should just get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an interesting question about what the vote threshold should or shouldn't be for all sorts of different stuff. And I think if the threshold is high, if it's like, no, you basically have to have 60 votes in order to pass anything. You have to have 60% of the Senate. It's not 50 plus 1, it's 60. And you say, well, maybe that means that your legislation is better as a result or something. I don't know. We could make that discussion, but to say that the filibuster is...
It's literally used for bribing people. It is atrocious.
Yeah, but it would be anyway. The votes are used that way anyway.
That's right. But you just wouldn't have, you have these people that just, because to get so many, like, you're just never going to,
so I think I know what you're talking about. Like if the vote is close, then everybody suddenly becomes the most important vote.
That's right.
Right.
That's
and so, like, if the vote threshold is 60, it's very likely that every vote is going to matter all the way down to the end, which means that everybody's the most important vote, and you can extract all sorts of concessions that you want.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I got you.
You got me.
Yeah, no. I mean, but I think that it's a shame that we're in a situation that is so polarized right now that basically us, listening to the president go like, we got to preemptively do this kind of thing, and both of us who are very different politically are going like, like, I don't like that that's our reaction, but maybe that's the most reasonable reaction to the situation we're in.
I think your theory that you laid out a few weeks ago is just sat with me, and I just am like, I have a hard time arguing with it, and that is, I had been saying that, look, every time they push executive power, they expand, their ability to, the footprint that they have. Mm-hmm. They don't seem to realize that the other side, they're giving a gift to the other side every time they do that. In the future, they're gonna come in and basically, like, run roughshod over all this stuff. And your point was, look, these loopholes, or whatever you want to call them, these pathways exist because people voted for them. People, representatives wrote them. They passed laws and created them. So yeah, the Constitution said this, and then in practice, they've created all these different things. And so the more that you can, the more that these guys are pushing them, and people realize, wait a minute, we voted for that. That's not. We need to pull that back. That's actually a wake up call for people. So it's not like, look, we have a gentleman's agreement here where everybody kind of agreed to do the right thing and stay in their own playground. It's like, well, yeah, but nobody's really doing that anymore. So then, okay, well then let's get back to actually what the law says, and we're going to rescind this. This is not this is ours, not yours, constitutionally. And I think that's to me, anything that gets you back towards, that zone is a positive thing, so that's kind of where I come down.
Well, and if it's not a wake up call, then you don't deserve to live in a representative democracy.
Then, yeah, a republic, if you can keep it, right?
If you can keep it.
Yeah.
Good old Ben Franklin.
All right, brother. Well, hey, listen, this was a good time. I'm glad we made it happen.
And again, congratulations to Mayor-elect Mamdani.
Yes.
Well deserved.
All right, man. We'll talk again next week.